I wanted to say two statements. Most people think they don't need life insurance until they do. Most people think they have enough insurance until they don't. I help families to cover final expenses, save for retirement, and build generational wealth for their children, grandchildren, and loved ones. My goal is to empower others with knowledge, which leads to financial wellness and breaking the cycle for our young people. This is about using insurance while you are alive. Other communities use these tools, and it's time that we learn to do the same. It's a hard conversation for some, but people willing to have that conversation are the ones who are prepared. I'm sorry, I'm not getting this. Oh. Okay, thank you. My apologies. I'm technology challenged. All right, so today we're going to go quickly over insurance-based financial solutions using life insurance as a tool. We're going to talk about final expenses to cover death, retirement planning, or increase your retirement savings, saving for future goals like investments or college, breaking the cycle by creating and leaving generational wealth, protecting the family that you leave in your home so that they can stay in the home. Okay, we have different types of insurance. We have whole life, final expense, which is typically used for funeral and burial. We have term life, which is temporary insurance. If you have a term life policy, there is an age limit to this policy, and once you reach that age, you're no longer eligible to renew. Your premiums go up as you age, and you do not receive any of those premiums back. We have accidental death and dismemberment, which means that it'll only pay if you have an accident. If you pass away in your sleep, it's not going to pay a penny. We have Index Universal Life, we also call that IUL, and that is part savings, part insurance, and part investment. And what they do is they take a portion of your premium and they invest it into a special account that is linked to the stock market without risk to you. To access these funds is tax-free. Unlike a 401k or an IRA, you have to pay taxes when you pull that money out. This money is within your insurance policy and you can access the funds tax-free. The other one is mortgage protection. If you own a home, you should know what private mortgage insurance is, which is PMI. PMI insurance only protects the bank if something happens to you. Mortgage protection protects the family that you leave in the house. This insurance gives them the ability to either pay off the mortgage or continue to make the mortgage payments. Kids get to stay in their same school, keep their same friends. Nobody has to move. Now let's talk a little bit about employer insurance. A lot of us have insurance through our jobs, but sometimes when you leave that job, you are unable to continue that insurance. And I learned that the hard way after a 26-year career. I lost my life insurance. They offered it to me as an employee as a group, under a group plan, which meant that it was relatively inexpensive. But for me to get that insurance independently, it was 3 times more the cost, which is another reason that I went into insurance, because there were some things that I didn't understand about the whole process. Now, one thing I want to briefly share with you, and I always share this because it's a true story. It's about my mom. My mom is married to a man 16 years her junior, and I often heard her say, well, my husband does not have to worry about anything once I pass away because I have all of this insurance, and he's going to get my pension, he's going to get my Social Security, and all that good stuff. Last summer, I was visiting her, And I said, you know what, Mom? Now, my mom comes from a generation of secrecy. They don't tell the business until the time comes. I said to her, it doesn't make sense that your only daughter, oldest child, is an insurance person, and I don't know what you have. Let's see your policies. She broke out 4 policies. One policy was accidental death, which pays nothing if she passes away in her sleep. The second policy she had was another accidental death policy for when she travels on her cruises. The other policy she had was a term life, which was 1 year away from expiring. And I said to her, Mother, how much are you paying for this policy? She didn't know because it comes out of her checking account, and she's fortunate enough not to have to watch her bank account. When she first started the policy, it was in the 40s, $43. So I said, let's see the bank account. We looked at the bank account, it was over $200. This is what happens when you don't pay attention to your policy. The last policy she had was for $25,000 of whole life, and that was the only policy that made any sense. So I had her take out a final expense policy for her death, to cover her death, and that way her husband could get the $25,000. This is all about knowing what you have, know what the face value is, know what the insurance company's name is, know what type of policy you have, and keep an eye on it because, like I said, things happen while you're not paying attention. We get these policies, we stick them in the drawer or stick them in the file cabinet, and we forget about them. Also, let someone know that you have this policy. Okay, so common funding options for final expense. Pre-need, as Mr. Houston discussed. You have life insurance, and those question marks are there for a reason. Do you want to use your savings for that? Do you want to rely on Medicaid for that? And please don't embarrass yourself with a GoFundMe or your family. Or do you want to stress your family and have them dig in their pockets and their bank accounts to take care of your expenses because you didn't do it while you were here on earth? How much does it cost? People ask me that all the time. I cannot tell you how much it costs for the average 60-year-old. I have to know your age, your gender, your health situation, what medications you're on, and your budget, and if you have any financial goals. And the policy is based on your final wishes. If you want to treat the traditional funeral, then I know how much insurance to offer you. If you're thinking about cremation, I know how much insurance to offer you. And I keep in relationship with my dear colleague, John Houston, so I can stay abreast as to what today's funeral cost is, because that's important. I need to know how much you need. Determining the price is like going to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, you want a prescription. He's not just going to give it to you. He's going to ask you some questions. What are your symptoms? I need to do the same. Okay. And in fine print, I do review your policies, if you have them, to make sure that you're getting the adequate coverage. If you already have a policy and you want a little more, we can do that. Okay, let's talk about your 401k, and I'm almost done, and your relationship with Uncle Sam. Folks think that they have a good amount of money when you have a 401k, right? Well, that money is not solely yours. Part of that money belongs to Uncle Sam, and he has rules and regulations about that money. He tells you how much or how little you can put in. He tells you when you can take it out. If you try taking it out before you're 59 and a half years old, he's going to charge you a 10% penalty, and you're going to pay taxes on that money. Then when you're around 72-ish, he forces you to take the money out because he wants his tax money. Now, as a senior, 401k can rob you blind. Because if you're a senior and you've lost all of your tax credits, like the house, the kids, and you feel that you're in a certain tax bracket, each time you go into that 401k, That's called earned income. That's called more taxes. So, if you have an IUL, you're in control. You don't pay any taxes on taking that money out. You can take it out whenever you want. So those are some things to consider. And I will be here after service if anyone has any questions or wants more information. Thank you so much for your time.